Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. In this video, we are going to cover the current affairs for mobile optimized ebooks. Please install GKToday Academy app. Now, let's start. What is India's GDP growth rate for the current fiscal as estimated by IMF, that is International Monetary Fund? So, recently, IMF has released its World Economic Outlook report. And as per this report, IMF has decreased India's GDP growth forecast to 4.8%, and it is 1.3% lesser than its previous estimation. That means IMF has reduced India's growth forecast. Now, IMF also projected that Indian economy will grow by 5.8% in next year and 6.5% in next to next year. And as per this outlook, the global economic growth is going to be 3.3%. Now, one thing that should be kept in mind that IMF reduced India's growth forecast, and the main reason for that was NBFC crisis and weak rural demand. And because of this slowdown in Indian economy, the growth in global economy was also less, and that's why the projection was reduced. Now, if we talk about IMF, the MD of IMF is Kristalina Georgieva. Answer in comment box, C is from which country? And the chief economist of IMF is Miss Geeta Gopinath. C is Miss Geeta Gopinath. Which Indian state has topped the production of vegetables in 2018-19 as per the recent data from Ministry of Agriculture? So recently, Ministry of Agriculture released state-wise horticulture production data. And as per the recent information, West Bengal was the top state in terms of vegetable production. And the number one state as per the last report, that means Uttar Pradesh, is on second position in terms of vegetable production. While in case of fruits, Andhra Pradesh is on top position and Maharashtra is on second position. Now, this data was released by Ministry of Agriculture. Present minister is Mr. Narendra Singh Tomar. His constituency is Morena. Morena is in Madhya Pradesh, and recently Madhya Pradesh was in news as for the first time Bandhavgarh Forest Reserve in Madhya Pradesh got a colony of elephants. Apart from that, Madhya Pradesh was also in news as BMC, that is Bhopal Municipal Corporation, and CPCB, that is Central Pollution Control Board, have signed a memorandum of understanding to set up India's first e-waste clinic. Now, answer in comment box, is CPCB a statutory body? If it is a statutory body, under which act it is constituted? Who was recently appointed as new MD of State Bank of India? So recently, the Appointments Committee of Cabinet, that is ACC, has approved the proposal of DFS. DFS stands for Department of Financial Services, for the appointment of Mr. C.S. Setty as the MD of SBI. SBI stands for State Bank of India. So Mr. C.S. Setty is the new MD. Now, if we talk about DFS, it is Department of Financial Services. It is under Ministry of Finance. Present minister is Ms. Nirmala Sitharaman, and Minister of State is Mr. Anurag Thakur. Recently, SBI was in news as SBI decided to implement OTP-based ATM cash withdrawals from 1st of January 2020. OTP stands for one-time password. Apart from that, SBI was also in news because of RBBG, that is Residential Builder Finance with Buyer Guarantee Scheme. So as per this scheme, the bank will issue a guarantee of completion of selected residential projects to its home loan customers. So this scheme is related to home loan. What is rank of India in the Social Mobility Index that was recently released by World Economic Forum? So recently, this report was released, and as per that, India's ranking is 76th. while Denmark is on top. Now it should be kept in mind this is first time this report was released. That means it was the first edition and it was based on 5 key dimensions. These 5 dimensions are health, education, technology, work and institutions. So Denmark is on first position and India is on 76th position. Now if we talk about World Economic Forum, recently it released gender gap report. As per that report, India's ranking is 112 and Bangladesh is the top performing country in South Asia. Bangladesh is on 50th position. As per this gender gap index, World Economic Forum was also in news because of annual meeting and this is going on in Davos, and Mr. Piyush Goyal is the head of Indian delegation for this meeting. And the theme for this event is Stakeholders for a Cohesive and Sustainable World. Which organization recently released Time to Care report? NGO Oxfam released this Time to Care report, and this report focused on global inequalities. And this also revealed that the total wealth of 63 Indian billionaires is higher than the total union budget for the fiscal year of 2018 to 2019. So, this report highlights the inequalities of income in the society, and it is a non-governmental organization. The report also reflected that in world there are 2153 billionaires. So 63 and 2153 are the important numbers. Now if we talk about Oxfam, it is a international group that was formed in 1995, and the name of Oxfam comes from Oxford Committee for Famine Relief, and the secretariat is in Nairobi and it is in Kenya. Kenya is an African country. Now answer in comment box, does Kenya share border boundary with Indian Ocean? Who has been recently appointed as the president of Institute of Company Secretaries of India, that is ICSI. So recently Mr. Ashish Garg has been appointed as the new president of ICSI, and Mr. Narendra D has been appointed as the vice president of ICSI. ICSI is Institute of Company Secretaries of India, and it is a statutory body to promote and regulate the profession of company secretaries in India, and the main headquarters is in New Delhi. Which country is the largest recipient of FDI in 2019 according to a latest report by UNCTAD? So recently UNCTAD, that is United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, released a report, and the report title was Global Investment Trend Monitor Report. So as for this report, USA is the largest recipient of FDI in 2019 with $251 billion, while China was on second position with $140 billion. One key point is that India is also among the top 10 recipient of FDI, and India received $49 billion FDI, and it is 16% higher than the previous FDI inflow. That means the FDI inflow of last year. So we saw an increment in terms of FDI despite economic slowdown. The UN World Tourism Organization recently released World Tourism Barometer report. Now the question is, where is the headquarters of UN World Tourism Organization? So it is in Madrid in Spain, and the objective of this organization is to promote sustainable tourism. And recently this UNWTO released a report, and the report was Tourism Barometer report. And according to this report, 1.5 billion international tourist arrival were recorded in 2019, and it is 4% higher than the previous year. Now Madrid is in Spain, and recently Spain was in news as it was the host of COP25. Actually, this conference was supposed to be held in Chile. However, because of civil unrest in the country, it was hosted in Spain under the presidency of Chile government. Spain was also in news as recently the first case of sexually transmitted dengue was confirmed in Spain. The official language of Spain is Spanish. Now answer in comment box which language is the most spoken language in the world. Who was recently appointed as the MD and Chief Executive of Bank of Baroda? So Mr. Sanjeev Chadha has been appointed as the MD and Chief Executive of Bank of Baroda, and this appointment was cleared by ACC. ACC stands for Appointments Committee of Cabinet. In addition to that, recently L.V. Prabhakar has been appointed as the MD and CEO of Canara Bank, and Mr. Atanu Kumar Das has been appointed as the MD and CEO of Bank of India. Mohan Sood, who passed away recently, was associated to which field? Right answer is sports. So former Indian cricketer and national selector Mr. Mohan Sood passed away recently. So Mr. Sood was associated to cricket. Now recently one more cricketer was in news because of his book, and the title of book is The Winning Sixer. Answer in comment box who is the author of this book. Which food delivery startup recently acquired Uber's food delivery platform Uber Eats in India? So recently Zomato acquired Uber Eats in all stock transaction. Now I have uploaded a special video on this topic. You can watch that for detailed information. The Indian Prime Minister Mr. Modi recently inaugurated integrated check post at Jogbani Biratnagar border between India and which country? So it is between India and Nepal, and this ICP, that is integrated check post, was jointly inaugurated by the Prime Minister of India and Prime Minister of Nepal through video conferencing. Prime Minister of Nepal is Mr. KP Sharma Oli, currency of Nepal is Nepali rupee, and capital is Kathmandu. So this integrated check post will facilitate trade and movement of people, and this is second such integrated check post between India and Nepal. The first integrated check post was Raksol Birganj border. So this is first one, and the recently inaugurated Jogbani Biratnagar ICP is the second one. Now recently Nepal was also in news as Government of India constructed girls hostel for Nepal Armed Police Force, and this was constructed in Kirtipur in Nepal near Kathmandu. Now if we talk about Prime Minister Mr. Modi, recently he was in news because of Pariksha Pe Charcha event. So the Prime Minister addressed the students, and this event held in Delhi. When is the Statehood Day for the three northeast states, that is Manipur, Meghalaya and Tripura? So right answer is 21st of January. So the Statehood Day for Manipur, Meghalaya and Tripura is 21st of January. On 21st of January in 1972, these three became the full-fledged state. And recently Tripura and Mizoram were in news because of recent agreement for the Bru community. A special video on this topic is already uploaded. You can watch that. Apart from that, recently Manipur was in news as it was included in the list of ILP. ILP is Inner Line Permits, and recently it was included in ILP. So there are 4 states in ILP. These are Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, Manipur and Mizoram. And this Citizenship Amendment Act won't be applicable in these areas under ILP, and this act will also not be applicable on the areas of 6th schedule, that is ATMM, Assam, Tripura, Mizoram and Meghalaya. And this Citizenship Amendment Act has already become effective from 10th of January in all over the country. And recently, Kerala government approached Supreme Court under Article 131 against the Citizenship Amendment Act. What is the minimum investment limit by the clients in a portfolio management service, that is PMS, as per the directions of SEBI, that is Securities and Exchange Board of India? So recently, SEBI has increased the minimum investment limit by the clients in a PMS to 50 lakh. Previously, it was 25 lakhs, and the base net worth requirement for the portfolio managers was raised to rupee 5 crore. Previously, it was 2 crore. In addition to that, SEBI also directed that 25% or more of portfolio managers' assets under management cannot be invested in unlisted securities. That means only up to 25% can be invested in unlisted securities, not more than that. So, SEBI is a statutory body. The headquarters of SEBI is in Mumbai, and it is a regulator of stock market in our country. Which chipset manufacturing firm recently announced first chipset with ISRO's NavIC GPS for Android smartphones? So recently, Qualcomm, which is a US-based semiconductor and equipment company, announced first chipset with ISRO's NavIC GPS for Android smartphones. The chipset will also support the GPS, that is Global Positioning System. If we talk about NavIC, it has 7 satellites and it covers the India and neighboring region. So NavIC is IRNSS, that is Indian Regional Navigation Satellite System. The World Employment and Social Outlook Trends 2020 report was recently released by which international organization? So it was released by ILO, that is International Labour Organization. So as per this report, unemployment is estimated to increase by nearly 2.5 million people in 2020. If we talk about ILO, it was founded in 1919 and the headquarters of ILO is in Geneva in Switzerland. Paperless licensing process for petroleum service stations has been launched through PESO, that is Petroleum and Explosive Safety Organization. Now PESO comes under which union ministry? So it comes under Ministry of Commerce and Industry. So DPIIT, that is Department of Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, has launched this paperless licensing process for the petroleum service stations through PESO. So this organization is responsible for this paperless licensing process, and it is under DPIIT, and DPIIT is under Commerce Ministry. So recently DPIIT announced that it has issued already 300 licensing under this paperless system, and the authenticity of license can be verified on the portal of PESO. Which state has been ranked first in meeting the efficiency targets in the review of state and central government water departments by Jal Shakti Ministry? So Gujarat is the top state in meeting the efficiency targets in the review of state and central government water departments by the Jal Shakti Ministry. So this was a mid-term review, and in terms of efficiency, Gujarat is the top performer, while Delhi is the worst performer. And this ranking has been done as per the National Hydrology Project of Jal Shakti Ministry. The present minister is Mr. Gajendra Singh Shekhawat. Now, if we talk about Gujarat, recently Gujarat was in news as Union Home Minister Mr. Amit Shah launched Cyber Aswasth and Viswas initiative of Gujarat Police. And these initiatives are associated to cyber security. Apart from that, Gujarat was also in news because of locust invasion. These species destroyed the crops in Gujarat. Apart from that, Gujarat was also in news as recently KVIC, that is Khadi and Village Industries Commission, launched first silk processing plant at Surendranagar in Gujarat, and this will help in the production of Gujarati patola saris. Who has recently been appointed as the new Vice Chief of Army Staff? So recently, Lieutenant General S.K. Saini has been appointed as the new Vice Chief of Army Staff. Present Chief of Army Staff is General Manoj Mukund Narwane, and previous Chief of Army Staff was General Bipin Rawat. Now General Bipin Rawat has been appointed as the CDS, that is Chief of Defence Staff. It is newly created post, and CDS is going to be the head of newly created department, and the name of this department is Department of Military Affairs, and this department is under Ministry of Defence. Answer in comment box who is the present Defence Secretary. Divyansh Singh Pawar, who was in news recently, is Indian player of which sport? So Mr. Pawar is associated to shooting, and he is 17 years old, and he is from Jaipur. Recently he was in news as he won the gold medal in Maton Cup. So these were the important questions of today's quiz. Thank you, and that's all for the day.